this fucking song is probably it probably is my least favourite song ever. And talking about things to recant from the past, as I have about Joe Wiley slightly. I know with most bands, even the ones that you hate, there's this rule whereby you will love one of their songs. With Oasis, that is not the case for me. As soon as I hear even a second of their music, I want to vomit. And I wish these enemies of beauty nothing but misery for the rest of their days. And that extends to all their fans. Hate this band. I mean, I don't know whether Pricey needs to come in before I just go off on one.
No, please take the floor, Neil. Go for it.
Well, I mean, for me, it's odd. In recent years, we've seen an awful lot of bullshit written about how, the 90s were all about Oasis and Nirvana, and it was about attitude coming back. For me, my memories of this era, and thinking about this era now, is that, definitely maybe, and things like that, and Oasis... It meant the cunts taking over. It meant the proper homophobic, mildly racist lads taking over. It meant the rejection of puffiness, stylistically, and the reassertion of the kind of English rock defence league's tiny-minded ideas. They're tiny-minded ideas about real, proper music. So it just sees rock regressing into this pure, soulless pastiche. It also means, in this period, a cowardly, craven press surrendering any critical standpoint in fear of this supposed consensus. National broadcasters and publishers boosting the lads, the coked up and the Larry. And deeper than that, it meant a reassertion of quite racist and sexist music stereotypes and snobbery. Beyond that, it enabled also a middle-class media to a certain extent, to homogenise its ideas about what counted as working class art.
Neil.
Yeah. Ever since then, ever since the 90s, when I've slagged off Oasis or the Roses or any of those bands, I've had it back, you must hate the working classes, as if this is all the working classes can do, this kind of thing. Yeah. I would use Oasis. If I was teaching a lesson about the 90s, I would use them. But not in a kind of this is how good things got kind of way. But this is definitively 90s. It celebrates the mediocre so long as it's arrogant. And it's this cultural environment.
And as long as it's successful.
Yeah, and as long... it has to be successful, of course. It has to have hundreds of thousands of zeros attached to all the figures attached to it. It creates this cultural environment in which anyone can be... I think this is the start of the overuse of the word iconic and legendary round about this period. Because anyone can be iconic and legendary, seemingly in the 90s, so long as you just tediously and endlessly assert the fact. So long as you just keep saying that you're, a rock and roll band. So, yeah, I'm not going to celebrate this fucking hoax, this con job, this cowardice, and this essentially a triumph for reactionary conservatism. And beyond anything else, the shitty music, the fucking utterly shit music. I'm not going to celebrate this in any way. I've always fucking hated Liam Gallagher, perhaps more than any other British pop figure in the past 2 decades. There was something I read, beyond all the homophobic shit that he's come out with over the years, which is unforgivable and disgraceful. I remember reading him about Adam Ant, and it was a comment that really summated a lot of things. He said, Adam and the Ants, no, I'm not into a geezer who wears makeup, especially fucking nutty ones. Yep, that's absolutely it. Doubtless he thinks British pop history would have been better entirely populated by these sort of gurning, faux simpleton fake lads wearing smart casual dad's clothes. But he's just a fucking charmless, thick as shit cunt, and I wish he'd fuck off and die. I've never seen either of those brothers as kind of, the witty characters that they're frequently seen as. But yeah, they are definitive of the 90s, because if you just say that you rock and roll often and drearily enough, it makes you iconic. And if you're half-wit, it's this kind of, there's frequently moments where I listen to Oasis records, and I just think, honestly, are you... that larceny, that theft, that laziness, you really think that'll do? And they do think that'll do. And clearly an awful lot...
And it did.
Yeah, and it did. An awful lot of music fans thought it'd do as well. And if that's admitted, then any kind of pastiche is okay. And, it's this admission of a kind of general a bit shitness, that you can't be as good as the past, but you can sort of innocently thieve it a little bit. This kind of attitude that's scruffed up like factory-damaged jeans. So, for me, Oasis, they're the Chris Evans of music. And if you like them, you must despise pop music. They're the single artist, the single band rather, that most sums up all I most detest in rock and pop music over its entire history. I know it's common to say now, oh yeah, but those early singles, come on, they were undeniable. Nope, sorry, they have always, for me, made the most revoltingly lumpen, conservative sounding music. Yes, they absolutely are iconic and legendary, and if you like them, you and their fucking rubbish music and those kinds of adjectives deserve each other, you cunt. They're an appalling band. and you know, especially in recent years, one thing I've noticed creeping into Noel Gallagher's quotes, now that he's moneyed up and he's sending his kids to posh schools, there's a definite tinge of kind of racism and Brexitiness. Yeah. In what he's been saying about his schooling, about the schools that he's sending his kids to, how he'd rather his kids hung around with Russian oligarchs all day than came home sounding like Ali G, and how he doesn't want to send them to school where there's metal detectors on the doors, and how he fucking loathes hip-hop and he doesn't think Jay-Z should headline Glastonbury, all of these things. And he doesn't like reading, and he doesn't like jazz, and Oasis for me have always just been a celebration of stupidity. And conservatism, and
the sound of a door slamming shut.
Well, for me, they're kind of, it's weird because they're one of the biggest bands of the 90s. For me, they're the nadir of the 90s. So watching various videos of England fans over the years adding to their repertoire of Fuck the IRA and 10 German Bombers with Oasis songs is very revealing to me. Much as it was the other day when I saw some cunt in a fucking multicoloured Harlequin style suit leading a street-long sing-along at the 8 o'clock clap for the NHS of Don't Look Back in Anger revealed a lot to me as well. It is that kind of national anthem, and I fucking hated it then, and I hate it now.